Hello and welcome once again to The Blueprints. This is Canada's Conservative Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Schmale, Member of Parliament for Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, with new content for you every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this program. Tell your friends they can download it on platforms like CastBox, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. You name it, it is out there. And on today's show, Parliament is done for the spring session already. Yes, it was under the election and we were prorogued, and it's been a while since we got back. And of course, the man with the plan, Mark Carney, had us back for a few weeks now. We're off for the summer, but as usual, we do the good, the bad, the ugly of the last parliamentary session. We take a peek at what is, on the table. So we have the reoccurring member that joins us, Kelly McCauley from Edmonton West. But we also have, because Tom Kimmich, the member from Calgary Shepherd, is now the deputy speaker, we brought on the ringer. We bring on the real person we wanted to film. Okay, we wanted Jasraj Singh Hallan, member of Parliament for Calgary East. We wanted you at the beginning, but we got Tom. So glad you're
there. You go.
You're
I think that's why we supported Tom for deputy speaker. So get him off the podcast and get our preferred guest in.
Good call.
So it's a look at what Parliament was in the last little bit. I know it was only a few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a few topics that we pick, and we usually discuss what they are. And if you disagree, feel free to tell us.
Yeah.
So it's the good. Let's start with the good. I'd like to do some positive. The Liberals agreed with us, Conservatives, finally, to get rid of the carbon tax only on the retail portion. Would you guys agree that's a good thing?
It was tough to find something good this year with the Liberals, but yes, I think so. Despite the fact that they constantly gaslit Canadians, stood in the House and said, if you don't believe in the carbon tax, you want the world to burn.
Yes.
If you don't believe in the carbon tax, you're causing forest fires and flooding, and little old ladies are going to go out and strangle a kitten if you don't believe in the carbon tax. But I guess electorally, they realized it wasn't a winner for them anymore. I don't care what reason they chose, but they finally got rid of it. So there is some good in the year.
But there is some bad to that, too. It's still on the industrial side.
That's right, yeah. And that's one of the things that's holding back from our energy sector to be reaching its full potential, too. So that's what we had called for. We wanted the consumer carbon tax and the industrial carbon tax to be gone altogether. And it's also unfortunate that they didn't just get rid of the consumer carbon tax right away. They're going to phase it out slowly, but, that's at least that they're getting rid of it altogether. But the good in that is also that they finally admit that Conservatives were right all along for the last, 8 to 10 years,
Yep.
that we've been asking for this to be taken off, and now it is. So, you know what? For Canadians, it's a good thing. It's going to be taken off finally, thanks to Conservative pressure.
And you know what I find just amazing is that we were told, I don't know how many times, that carbon tax had nothing to do with inflation.
Right.
Groceries were getting expensive. It had nothing to do with anything. And sure enough, they took that off the price of fuel. And wouldn't you know, the inflation rate went down.
Shocking, I know.
The gaslighting over the last 10 years has been amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just hilarious watching Liberal after Liberal do videos. Oh, look, we're pumping gas.
Yes.
We're taking money off. And it's like, wait a moment, wasn't I a climate denier?
Yeah.
No, it's a different world. It's a new government.
It's a new government. New government. Oh, hang on to that one. Hang on to that one. Anything you want to add before we jump onto the bad?
No, I think that it just shows the hypocrisy the whole way. And you know what? Again, we're just happy that it's taken off.
All right, the bad here. All right. More money on consultants, fellas.
More money.
What, $26 billion?
Yeah, we didn't learn our lessons with GC Strategies and ArriveCan. We didn't learn our lessons with McKinsey or all the other money shoveled out the door. Last year was $22 billion, an absolute record amount spent on management consultants. At the same time, the government's growing public service by 40%. So they came to their senses. They campaigned on significantly reducing management consultants. So they significantly reduced it by adding billions more, bringing it up to $26 billion planned this year. And put it in perspective, that's $1,700 per household just for management consultants, such as McKinsey, such as the GC Strategies, and many of these other liberal connected friendly consultants.
It's a way to funnel money through to your buddies to do a bit of work or whatever that work is.
Right.
And I'm sure that money eventually flows back in the form of donations to the party or favors down the line, something like that.
Very much. We saw with McKinsey, for example, their former CEO, Trudeau friend Dominic Barton, where the Liberals actually violated procurement rules to sole source contracts to McKinsey. The Liberals even admitted, yes, we actually have public servants available, some of these extra 40% available to do the work, but we're going to contract it out, sole source to McKinsey. It's corruption at the highest level. We thought they came to their senses. But no, we actually see in this year that they're planning to spend again $26 billion. At the same time, they're spending $1 billion more on the public service. So we're at more bodies to do the work, but we still have to hire more bodies from outside to do the work.
Well, this is the exact same thing that happened in the weed charity scandal too. They had departments,
right.
but they had to somehow they gave a sole source contract to the weed charity, who we know that gave $500,000 to Justin Trudeau's mom at the time. And they ended up getting rewarded with $500 million, if I'm not wrong. And we do also have to acknowledge why they keep increasing these fees. One thing is, of course, they're going to their Liberal connected insiders and the corruption that goes with that. But it's because all of their ministers are so incompetent that they have to outsource work that the ministers should be doing. Look at Sean Fraser, probably I would say the most incompetent minister
He's pretty bad.
in Parliament history. The guy destroyed every department that he's been in, whether it was immigration, then he got moved to housing, and now he's in justice. The guy is just full of incompetence, and it's just one example of many of these ministers that they're trying to cover the incompetence by hiring more and more consultants. At a time, I should say, when food bank usage is at the highest it's ever been, youth and unemployment is up altogether. Our investment, our capital is flowing out of here like crazy. We're seeing all sorts of pain and mortgage delinquencies and so much hurt that's happening to Canadians right now. It's all happening. The government just keeps spending.
And it's growing at the same time.
That's right.
Services
aren't getting any better.
No, services aren't getting any better at all. I don't think anyone believes that.
Yeah.
So we're growing government, and government in the ivory towers of Ottawa, their goal and to keep themselves busy, they create rules and regulations, new rules, new policies, new ways to slow the economic growth that we need to fund our tax base.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite contracts that the government awarded last year was $700,000 to KPMG to do a report on how to cut management consulting contracts. So $700,000 to KPMG, and they probably delivered a report so you could cut by giving KPMG $6 billion more in contracts.
Yeah.
But this is the ludicrous world we live in right now with the Liberal government.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable as Canadians struggle. So that leads us to the ugly, which we've referenced a couple times already, but it all leads us to this.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a new government, but it looks a lot like the same old government.
Very much. 60% of the cabinet are Trudeau leftovers. And you're right, we hear in the House every day, the new government. Yeah, the old guys were corrupt. It's like, well, that was you guys. No, that was the old guys who were corrupt. We're the new government. But it's like, well, the new government is made up of Chrystia Freeland, her of economic vandalism that caused massive unemployment, inflation. Our new our finance minister, Francois Champagne, he of the Green Slush Fund scandal.
That's right.
Sean Fraser, who we spoke about, and of course Quebec Lieutenant, number 2 in government right now, Stéphane Guilbeault, who of course green zealot who's working, if he's not busy trying to bring in censorship rules on the internet, he's busy trying to shut down our oil and gas industry, the number one industry in Canada and our number one export.
Not to mention the guy at the top.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But he says he's new, but he's been around for so long. He's the guy that was advising Trudeau for the last 5 years. And what happened in the last 5 years? The worst inflation crisis in Canadian history, the most rapid interest rate hikes in Canadian history. Food bank usage doubled under this guy. It's incompetence is written all over the guy. And for him to say he's new here is totally not true.
Actually, that's a good point, too. When you think back to when the Liberals have been steadily making life harder for Canadians, but when you really look back, it got really hard in the last 5 years, and that's when Carney had his fingers all over everything.
That's right. I mean, he's the one who spent all that money, or advised Trudeau to spend all that money during the pandemic, when 40% of it didn't even go to pandemic spending.
It was all couched in the language of COVID, but
Yeah.
it had nothing to do with COVID.
And the worst part is they promised to cap spending at 2%. And just an hour and a half after they announced that in their budget speech, or inside their own speech, they ramped it up to 8% of spending. And he's already promising to spend more than Trudeau. Can you believe that? Already.
Well, we would know how much he'd spend if we had a budget.
Yeah, if we had a
that's right.
plan, right? But he's the guy with the plan. He's the man with the plan, we were told. But he's just overly smart. He's just too smart. We would not understand.
Yes.
And we can't keep up with him. He's just so intellectually superior.
Maybe he's sitting around a table right now with his good, bad, and the ugly. And his ugly is Canadians just aren't smart enough
They
to
aren't.
understand how brilliant he is and why we don't need a budget,
That's
why we
right.
don't need to know how much the deficit will be this year and how much the interest payments. But a lot of ugly to choose from, but I think
There is.
being the same old tired, corrupt Trudeau government under a different name has got to be the ugly of the ugliest for the year.
That's right.
Yeah, and even during the election campaign, they try to have this Jedi mind trick to voters, right? We will be a new government. Forget the last 10 years.
I wish they were not the droids. We but we end up the same old.
But despite the fact that they're in Parliament, as you said, every single day saying Canada's new government and just don't look behind the curtain of the last 10 years.
Well, it's exceptionally funny watching Liberal MPs who've been around 4 years, Liberal cabinet ministers, blame every problem of today on themselves.
Yes.
You know.
But no physical discomfort when they do that.
Oh, no, that was the other Liberals.
We're the new Liberals. Same people. And the same people who voted for all the policies that we got that led us to this point.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
absolutely amazing.
So, not a lot to choose from this year, but there was some good, a lot of bad, and a lot of ugly. And
Yes. But it was a very short session, so that left us with
shortest since 1937.
1937.
We know Liberals do not like to work, but this sets a new bar for them.
It does. So when was the last time we saw it? It was December, late December, wasn't it? December 19th, December 17th, something like that.
Right.
Then Trudeau prorogued, decided to take the walk in the snow, and then had the leadership, and then the election. And then we got back in late May, and then we're rising in
1
June.
month.
Yeah, 1 month.
Of course, Conservatives, under our campaign, we were going to sit through the summer to get a budget passed with tax breaks and help for Canadians. And Liberals, no, let's get out on vacation as soon as possible.
And the media takes a yawn to all of that because there's nothing going on. There's no trade war. There's no uncertainty in different parts of the world.
We were supposed to collect $20 billion of tariffs, and then poof,
where'd it go?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, quietly during the campaign, and then Carney went on stage, and we're going to get tough with the Americans.
Maybe that's why we don't get a budget.
And maybe, we don't want to see those numbers.
He went elbows down real quick.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show. That was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, the other good is that we have Jazz with us now.
Yeah.
Not, MP
the real Calgarian we wanted.
Hopefully, he doesn't shift to the bad and then the ugly. Time will tell.
Well, we're glad you're on. That's it's a good team here, and I appreciate the two Albertans coming on to take a peek at the few weeks that was Parliament.
Yes. Well, thanks for having us.
No worries. Kelly McCauley from Edmonton West, also Jasraj Singh Hallan from Calgary East. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you for yours as well. Please don't forget, we will have new content for you throughout the summer, every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this program. Until next week, remember, low taxes, less government, more freedom. That's the blueprint.